What's going on, y'all? So listen, I'm so frustrated, y'all. Cause listen, Game of Thrones is on right now. I'm literally recording this on a commercial so I can watch Game of Thrones as soon as this is over with. Okay, Power on at the same time. Claws is on at the same time. What the fuck is going on? I'm so glad this is the last part of Real Housewives of Potomac. But let's just get into this. So the husbands come out, but before the husbands come out, you have Robyn sitting on the stage, and we get more of the little conversation that she was having to herself, or under her breath to Charrisse or whatever, about Ashley and all this stuff. How I would have whooped her ass had them cameras not been there and all that shit. You talk about you from the hood, I show you what. Juan from the hood too. What the fuck that got to do with anything, girl? Let me just tell you this, Robyn, shut up, okay? Just shut up. Shut up, shut up, because you ain't gonna do shit and you not about that life. Because if you was gonna do something, fuck them cameras, you would have did something right then and there. We don't talk about shit, we be about shit. And that's all you was doing is fucking talking about it. And once again, I'll say it. You only getting in your feelings because, yes, Ashley does talk too much and she needs to mind her damn business. But everything that she's been saying about your relationship is what a lot of us been saying, okay? You in a hopeless place. Like Ashley said, at least I ain't trying to be up in no marriage and holding on to a lost cause for 20 years. Bitch, let's get on your marriage. I can't wait till we get into that part. But anyway, they bring the husbands out there. We get Ray out there. They asking him about how everything's doing, the move and all that stuff. And he was talking about how the house was on the market for like over a year, and then he wanted to downsize. Karen really didn't want to do that, so basically convinced him to get that house. Karen said last week that the reason why they went to Great Falls and got that house is because her parents were sick. Bitch, Eddie brought that shit up, and Ray said, no, that's not the reason. I said, damn, Karen, you and Ray, you should have communicated. That's what, and then even Andy said, communication is y'all need to work on y'all communications. A whole bunch of y'all out here need to work on that. I'm like, you could have coached him before. Okay, now when he asks something, 9 out of 10 he gonna ask it to confirm what I say. Just say yes. Just say yes, babe. But Ray was holding his own. They asked him about the comment that he made about Giselle, as she gets older, she's not going to have the same looks that she has. And maybe to some people it was a little harsh, but I didn't find it harsh. It was the truth. And I understood and I get where he was coming from. And I'm glad he said it. He said, wait a minute, you came to me as if you wanted the real deal, and I gave you the real deal. Okay? Charrisse calling him broke. He said, you know what? I ain't never been broke. He said, I grew up in a tenement trying to get into the projects when I was younger, and we was on the wait list and never got in, okay? 17 years old or whatever was the last time he was ever broke. And I said, go off, Ray. He said, I mean, we ain't Bill Gates nothing, but okay, I ain't broke. I said, for real? Go pay that $5 million. Let me stop playing with him. Go pay that. Go play that loan. Go pay that lien. Okay. Go pay your taxes. But he got Charrisse ass right together. I said, look at Ray. I like Ray. Then he was like calling me Uncle Ben because Giselle called him Uncle Ben. He was like, I mean, I had to go look. And he was like, I mean, Uncle Ben is a nice looking dude. So okay, I'll take that. And at least I ain't no Uncle Tom. I said, all right. Ray came prepared for some shit. All right, they asked Chris how did he feel about seeing the episode where his mother called Monique a heifer, and some people got in their feelings or whatever about the fact that Monique said that she hasn't spoken to her mother-in-law in like a year or whatever, but it's not uncommon that when someone's baby boy, okay, 9 out of 10 Chris is a mama's boy, when they get married to a woman or whatever, you're going to have a 50-50 toss-up whether or not she going to really like you or she going to fucking hate you. And this is not uncommon. So I'm not surprised that the relationship between Monique and Chris' mother is the way that it is, okay? That's just how it is. And she's an older woman, too, at that. So she's stuck in her ways, and she don't see one of other bitch as it is coming in trying to take her place. So that's what it is. And, he said he talked to her about what she said, and then he was like, is she invited to the new house? Monique said no right away. I said, girl, cut that shit out. Chris said, bitch, yes, she is. Eventually. They started talking about wine. So, it was a little issue trying to get you here. I mean, for my career's sake, I didn't want to know. I didn't want to come on here and, mess up some things because I just got this coaching job at this place or whatever. I said career, bitch. Girl, get out of here. So they started talking about him having that hot mic and saying what he said. And he said it's not stuff that he necessarily didn't talk about with Robyn before, but he just wished it never came out the way that it did. I said, bitch, you said exactly what you wanted to say. Okay, you meant that, you said it. Robyn and her feelings about the way that it was perceived and what people, I guess, on social media, the viewers been saying about the relationship. It's like sometimes you need outside eyes to tell you the truth, okay? Y'all don't need to be up in this relationship. Y'all need to just co-parent and be friends, okay? And live separately. I don't know if it's still a financial, well, it is still a financial issue with them. But we all know that this is a bullshit. When Andy asked, do you still feel guilt over the cheating? He said, he didn't say no. He said, I'm not finna sit up here and make it seem as if he was the only one that fucked up in a relationship or whatever. He said he probably felt aware about the way he handled his marriage, but it takes two. He not gonna sit up here and act like he was the only one that did some stuff. I said, oh shit. So is that a yes or a no? That's a no. He don't feel no guilt, but probably wasn't tit for tat type of shit. But anyway, I was just like, all right, Robyn, delusional. So, at the end of the day, Juan and his shit, they on some bullshit. I don't even care to fucking discuss it anymore. Because every time I hear them, you can just see and you can feel that they're covering for themselves and trying to make it appear that everything is okay and one feels more. No, we both on the same page. Y'all not on the same page, y'all. Y'all just floating around, okay? Whatever. We looked at Ashley's situation. Her and her husband been separated for 3 months, okay? Now, when they revealed this information, of course, you have Robyn over there gossiping with either Charrisse and Giselle, talk about some. So who moved out? She moved out or he moved out? Who moved out? And then I had to rewind it because she had a little smirk on her face when she was saying it too. Like, so you talking shit about us, but you over there with your shit. But see, here's the difference between Ashley and Robyn, baby. Let me tell y'all something. Ashley, Robyn, and Charrisse. Even probably you too, Giselle, okay? And I'm not even trying to go in on Giselle because Giselle was actually not really that big of a problem. She was just being nosy like we all was. We wanted to know who the fuck moved out. But it was just the way that Robyn said it. And it's like, so I know Robyn was coming from a place of, well, see, you all up in my business talking about my relationship when y'all was acting like y'all was all to the good. Now you separating, you been separating, you ain't tell nobody. Okay, see, that's the difference. You told everybody about your separation or your situation with Juan. So you can't get upset when somebody start asking you questions and wanting to know what's going on because you can't keep your damn mouth closed. And then you gonna tell a bitch that can't keep her mouth closed either. So you get what you give, all right? But the thing with Ashley is, Ashley already said she's not finna stay in a relationship where she know that it's not gonna fucking work. So that's a little telltale to Charrisse. Like, I'm not going to spend 20 years in a relationship knowing damn well it's not going to work and try to fake that shit, okay? She said they're going to counseling. She said, in her mind, she want to be back with him, but right now she's 50%. Her and Michael has to get on the same goddamn page. He said he wants to be in a relationship with her, and it's understandable. He wants the marriage back, but they don't want to get back together until everything is back on the same footing, which is understandable. That's how you work shit out, okay? And she did move out. She moved out. She's living in Alexandria, and it's fine. And I'm just sitting here like, Robyn, this is nothing to be gleeful over, okay? Or, smirking about, it is what it is. All of y'all got flaws, okay? Yes, you could say that it's probably a little karma coming back for Ash because she talked too damn much and she's always in everybody's business. But you notice when you ask Ashley the question, she answered the shit straight up. And I believe the bitch, okay? She wasn't going around the block like Robyn do or making up excuses. Now, let me tell you something, Michael, okay? You tried to say that, Giselle and Charrisse and them or whatever, the girls was part of the reason why y'all get, no, no, no. Okay, you talking about their influence. They ain't got that much goddamn influence, okay? Your business was fucking failing before anything of them women coming up in there, having that little tantrum or whatever, that little bloggers thing. Your shit was failing already. Your marriage was already failing or whatever. That ain't had shit to do with them, okay? It probably added stress, but they ain't had shit to do with your marriage fucking up, okay? Don't even do that shit. Just say you don't like them bitches, and that's it. That's it, okay? Yes, your business was part of the reason why your marriage probably collapsing, and plus some other personal stuff that's going on. I figured out, and I kind of knew that Michael was supporting her mama, okay? He like, damn, bitch, tell your mama to get a job or whatever. But don't try to put that on others like that. The way that he was saying, I said he making it seem like Giselle and them got some really really big influence. Like, girl, the restaurant was already trashed before, so don't do that. So basically, Michael kind of say something to the fact that he's older in life and Ashley's still 20 in her 20s, and she's trying to figure things out, and she's matured a lot more since he seen her or been with her and all that stuff, and he's at the end of his career, and she's trying to start her stuff, and basically saying he don't want to come back to the same thing, and the way that he was giving off a vibe, which Karen picked up on and Giselle picked up on and I picked up on, it was almost as if he was ready to let her go and do what she needs to do, okay, because they're in two different places and they don't know if they'll give back to that. And he was like, well, damn, I'm surprised that you can tell me what I didn't know I was doing. But that's how it came off, Michael, okay? Smoke and mirrors, that's what all y'all do. Now, don't get me wrong. Ashley, I'm not going to be gleeful over somebody that's getting, that's breaking up or whatever, or going through a separation. Like I said, you can call it a little karma or whatever for butting her nose in everybody else's business, but everybody saw this shit coming. Okay, most of us saw this shit coming, just like we saw a lot of shit coming. Okay, so hopefully Ashley learn to shut the fuck up sometime. Have an opinion, but when a person say shut the fuck up, you shut the fuck up. Okay, but whatever. Don't feel either way about it. So they start going over some questions from the viewers about them spending and being humble and why y'all. Somebody said, why y'all be flaunting what y'all got, knowing damn well Robyn can't afford this shit. I said, why you have to put Robyn on blast like that? Robyn said, bitch, I work on a limited budget, but I still look good in what I do. And I was like, yeah, I give her that. And everybody up there, money don't mean nothing and all this stuff, but y'all parade it around like y'all do. And I'm so glad somebody asked, I keep on wanting to call her Monique. That's because Love and Hip Hop is coming on Hollywood and soon. But somebody was like, girl, why would you spend $30,000 for a 1-year-old birthday party that she ain't gonna ever remember? She said, bitch, first of all, it was $25,000. Bitch, that don't mean shit. You could have spent just $50, okay? Get a cake, get a couple of balloons from Party City, and then get some little noisemakers and call it a fucking day. Because the girl ain't gonna fucking remember. Alright, girl, whatever. Somebody asked, do they get allowances? They said hell no. Charrisse said she filed a motion to go ahead and get a divorce. Eddie done moved on. He got a girlfriend or whatever. And at this point, here go Ashley again. She did. I don't know if she was trying to be shady with it, but because Charrisse said she wanted to move on. She wanted to be able to date and, probably go on Love Connection, have some companions and all this stuff. And Ashley was like, I heard you be having some parties, girl. You had some parties back in the day. She was like, yeah, I had some parties and stuff like that. Here go Andy. What type of parties? Like some girl parties and all this stuff? Giselle said sex toy parties and stuff like that. And I didn't take Ashley saying that as being shade, but then you just never really know. So you can to each his own to interpret it. Next thing you know, Charrisse gonna throw out there like, yeah, we did that just like you and your husband used to like to go to gay clubs for fun. Because she said, I like to have fun. Just like you and your husband like to go to gay clubs for fun. And Ashley said, okay, we do. And I'm like, so you took that as a little bit of shade, because if you didn't, you wouldn't have thrown that out there like that as if you were shading her. You can't shade somebody with a fact that they put out there and that they stand by and that they don't care and have no embarrassment about it. They're cool with it. So, Charrisse, girl, okay. Okay. So they try to get into what's the beef between Karen and fucking Charrisse. Are we going to get down to the bottom of it? No, because I'm still confused. Next thing you know, they start talking about why you act like she wasn't co-hosting and y'all was just hosting and it was just you. Why you didn't put a gift basket in there? Well, see, Charrisse had a conversation with me earlier and she did not tell you the whole story, okay? She trying to make it look like I just left her basket off and all this stuff, and she was not telling y'all the whole story. She go through this whole story, and it did sound like Charrisse was trying to give half of the shit. But I'm sitting here like a gift fucking basket. Okay? Now, Ashley said something like, and then Karen looked over there to her and said, be quiet, or some shit like that, like she was her child, like Ashley was her child. And I said, girl, see, that's why the girls don't really like Ashley like that, because Ashley opens up her mouth, she's very opinionated and all that shit. Sometimes it's good. On this reunion, it's good as hell because it's hilarious, because she is not scared to stand up to them, which I can appreciate. But any other time, she just do too fucking much. But then it get to the point about, when they had the little argument up in Bermuda, when Robyn came into her room and she was like, well, Robyn said, for you to think that, Charrisse told me to go in there and cuss you out. No, bitch. I said that was my own mind, okay? I have my own opinion that I formed on my own, and that's what I wanted to say to you, okay? Charrisse ain't had shit to do with it. And then Ashley said, so where does, if this the case, why did you have to call her and go in so hard on her, about the fireman and all this other stuff? Karen, I am not talking to you, and I will not tell you anything. Are you the host? Are you the host? Andy, can I, Andy was like, wait a minute, but that's a good ass question. Go ahead and answer the question. Okay, I will. Ashley said, so you need to ask him to answer a goddamn question? Bitch, are you the host? Okay? Andy said, unlike Bermuda, ain't no co-hosting up in this bitch, okay? So therefore, answer the fucking question. I'm sitting here like, y'all got Karen up here stuttering again, okay? And, she was getting a little hot because she was up there lying, all right? Charrisse said, fuck all that. Karen was about to go into the explanation of why she said all that shit. And she said, fuck all that. Let's get to this picture that you said you want to put out. Okay? The fireman or whatever the fuck? You got that shit from an account. I think Robyn said it, or Robyn or Giselle was talking about it. Some account that somebody with 0 followers on Twitter made up and was adding anybody that had Bravo at the end of their name, talking about, Charrisse infidelities or whatever. And no, Charrisse said this. And it was like, that's some old news. And Charrisse did call her out on her shit, like, where's the picture? Where's the picture? If there is a picture, because Karen kept on saying, no, that's not it. It's another one. And then at that moment, I guess Charrisse got fucking fed up. Okay, because she said, well, ain't nobody saying shit about the fact that you got a little boyfriend. That's what they say, Mr. Blue Eyes. I said, oh, shit, for real? And they was going back and forth about how, well, we just probably don't get along. We don't mesh well, and that's it. And then Charrisse kind of came back. Okay, Karen was like, no, you just don't get along with me. And I said, that's exactly what the fuck she just said, okay? Y'all don't mesh well, y'all don't get along, and that's perfectly fucking fine. Move on. Child, they were trying to go in on Miss Karen. Karen couldn't keep her story straight for shit, okay? They said the dude was a driver, was a bodyguard. Me and Andy said, what the fuck do you need a bodyguard for, okay? So, they just going back and forth. Charrisse was trying to come at her. Bitch, at one point, Karen said, keep on. I don't understand why you're trying to come at me like this, okay? I have never said anything about you. I never did anything to you and all that stuff. But keep going. Don't let me go in about your marriage. She said, you can go ahead about the marriage. It's fucking over. She's like, at least I still got my house. Karen said, for now you do, okay? That alimony ain't almost... I said, girl. Bitch. They was like, have y'all met the driver? Me and Andy asking the same question. You met the driver? You met the bodyguard? Monique said, yeah, I talked to him. We had a nice little conversation and all this stuff. And they was just going back and forth, and it was so petty I could barely keep up because it was just a lot of nonsense. And at one point, Karen jumped on trying to, I don't know if she was trying to pull Giselle into it or get her on her side by saying one thing that Giselle do, she'll say she said she'll throw Jesus under the bus for a little camera time or attention or whatever. But one thing that she don't do is lie. Okay, so everything that she was saying about the fireman or whatever, that's the truth and all this stuff. And you know, they was like Potomac is really small, so everybody's seen it, everybody heard rumors about this, about you having a boyfriend on the side, and it's not a good look. Okay, I'm just sitting here like, what is going? They too old for this. And then Karen let us know that she's still fucking Ray. We didn't. Did we need to know that? No, girl. So at the end of the day, bitch, everybody is so-called okay. You know, Monique said she just didn't like the rehashing of stuff because her and Giselle are in a better place. And the same thing with Giselle. She said the same thing, and she apologized for busting in on Oz. And she asked Ashley, did you get a prenup? Because one of them said, y'all ain't get no prenups or whatever. But she asked Ashley, did she get a prenup? Ashley said, yeah, I mean, I'd be good if everything could be fucked up. Yeah, I'd be good. You know, and it was a nice little moment. It was a nice little moment. Charrisse said after all of that back and forth bickering, okay, that at the end of the day, they still like each other. I said, no, the fuck y'all don't. Who these friends like that you gonna keep going back and who will throw your business out in the street? Anyway, that was Real Housewives of Potomac. That is it. That is over. Let me go watch Game of Thrones. Peace.